والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Last time we started with Surah Al-Baqarah. We had an introduction and we talked about the first verse, the discursive letters that appear in the beginning of some of the surahs. Here it is Alif Lam Mim. We talked about the significance of this. Is there any question about what we have done last time? No question. So can we get, can someone volunteer to recite these 5 verses? Please, go ahead.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. There might be some mistakes. So.
No, well, that's the idea.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون والذين يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك بالآخرة هم يوقنون أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون.
Jazakallah khair. So these 4 verses in the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah describe the believers. And we can see that the believers who are muttaqoon, the style of the Quran usually starts with a general term and then explains the meaning.
There's a one hand raised.
So the first verse says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. So if you look in the Mus'haf, you will find that لا ريب فيه. If you look in the Mus'haf, you will find that there are 3 dots at the end of Raiba and 3 dots at end of Fihi. And the meaning of this is that these are positions to stop. But you cannot stop at both of them. You stop at one of them. So you could say, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ.
So we stopped at the La Rab and then we continue.
We continue.
Okay.
In this case, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This book has no doubt. There is no doubt that this book is a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it includes guidance to the muttaqin. Or you can say, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Again, this means that the book is a guidance for the muttaqin, and there is no doubt that it has guidance in. The doubt here is about whether it has guidance or not. The doubt before in the first recitation is about the book. So it can mean that there is no doubt about this book as a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or it can mean that there is no doubt that this book includes guidance to the muttaqin. And so it is when you have these 2 meanings together, that the book, there is no doubt in the book, and there is no doubt that it has guidance for the muttaqin. Then it explains who are the muttaqin, or what are the characteristics of the muttaqin. You find 5 characteristics. The first one is يؤمنون بالغيب. They believe in the unseen. And when we look at in the Arabic language, the verbs always have roots. So every verb has a root. And from that root you can create a lot of words. So the root here is غاب. الذين يؤمنون بالغيب. الغيب, the unseen. The root of the verb is غاب, means it became absent or it disappeared. So what al-ghayb means is something that you cannot see with your eyes. But it exists, but you cannot see it with your eyes.
Right.
So when it says يؤمنون بالغيب, they believe in the unseen. The unseen includes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot see Allah, but we know that He exists. We cannot see the angels. We cannot see the paradise and hellfire. All of these are parts of the unseen. So the first thing of that, the belief, the muttaqeen, they believe in the unseen. Then they establish وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةِ. They establish prayers. The word يُقِيمُونَ, the root here is قَامَ. What's the meaning of قَامَ?
Stand.
Yeah, stand. Stand up. قَامَ means
So
stood up.
okay, from Qiyam.
From qiyam,
From
that's
Qiyam.
right. So it doesn't say here that they pray or they perform prayers. It says they establish prayer. Qiyam here means, or iqama here means, is that it has the connotation of establishing something, like building a building. So it not only includes, it doesn't only mean performing prayers, but it is performing prayers as the best you can do. It is a very sound, very strong prayer because it is standing up. It is permanent attribute. It's not that you pray one day and you don't pray the other day. So it is a continuous activity that you do. All of these are included in the yuqimuna salah. And it's always in the Quran, it says yuqimuna salah. Means that we have to make our prayer regular. We make it as sound as possible. We make it strong, because the prayer, as the Prophet ﷺ says, is the most important thing in this religion. Why? Because this is the connection between the human being and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you are praying, you are talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah.
So just wanted to, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So calm.
Yeah.
So what's the significance of calm, like the way you wrote over here?
Yeah.
Because وَيُقِيمُونَ salata. So what's the significance of writing calm over there? Like why you wrote it like that?
This is the root of the verb.
Root.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the verbs in Arabic, the root is 3 letters.
Okay.
But there are roots which are more than that.
Okay.
And then you can use that root, you add letters to it, and it gives you more meaning.
More meaning. Okay.
So for example, from this I can say qa'im,
Okay.
means he's standing up or he was well established.
Okay.
Right? Or iqama,
Come.
Iqama comes from qama,
Okay.
right? So every root, in order to understand the significance of the word that you are dealing with, you always go to the root and see where the root come from, and that would tell you the significance of the word.
Okay, so it's kind of a base.
It is the base, yeah. Yeah, root is the base.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I really appreciate this because only through questions we can understand more meanings. Okay, so the first thing is that they believe in the unseen. Second thing is that they establish prayer. And the third thing is وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. They spend out of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided for them. Yes.
Repeat, please, repeat.
رَزَقْنَاهُمْ
Yeah.
يُنْفِقُونَ مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. رَزَقْنَاهُمْ here means what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided for them. Rizq, yes. ينفقون is spending.
Okay.
Alright? So, and it comes from the root for ينفقون is نفقة. And you use that, it's being used as when you say, if you want to say the animal died, you say, al-hayawan nafaq. So nafaq is died.
Right. Okay.
So it is used here to mean that the money has been spent. But in other places in the Quran it says, don't you think that the money that you spent is going to be wasted? It is going to be multiplied in reward. But I'm just explaining where the root came from. So وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. Here it says very clearly that the money that you have came to you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Oh.
It's not your money. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you that money so that you can spend it in the way that He likes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, when you started this Alladhina yuminun, you said like there are five characteristics?
That's right.
So, but razaqnahum yunfikun, it's not a characteristic.
It is.
Because it's God giving to, we are spending.
Who spends?
We. Okay.
So we believe, we establish prayer, we spend the money.
Okay.
Right? So here it says, al-muttaqoon, those who are God conscious, they do these 5 things. Number 1, they believe in the unseen, they establish prayer, they spend money in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they believe in what has been revealed to you, and so believing in the revelation, believing in the books that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed. Number 4. Number 5, وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ, they are certain about the hereafter. So these are the 5 characteristics of those who are muttaqun. Okay? So when you look at these 5 characteristics, it encompasses the whole Islam. Because it encompasses aqidah. Aqidah, what's aqidah?
We believe. Yeah.
Believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the angels and the books and the messengers and the hereafter and all of this. So that's aqidah. And it's all mentioned here. Right? The second thing in the component of Islam is the ibadah. You pray and you pay zakah These are two of the 5 pillars of Islam, right?
Hello.
And when it mentions in the Quran,
Hello.
you will find in the Quran very often, they establish prayer and they pay zakat. And this is, it encompasses the 5 pillars of Islam. Usually it is used to indicate the ibadat. So these 5 characteristics, first they encompass the aqidah, and then they encompass the ibadat, the worship, and then they encompass the akhlaq, the muamalat, the behavior.
Again.
Where that comes from? Because you believe in the book. Bima unzila ilayka, this is the book. The Quran includes, it tells you don't cheat, don't lie. You know, if you want to get married, you do it this way. If you're going to, all of these things are included in the Quran. So if you believe in the Quran, then you perform these. So these 5 verses include the whole of Islam. Right?
Yeah.
And there are few verses like this in the Quran where it talks about these 3 components, each in one, relevant to the place where it is, relevant to the surah. That here it's meant to introduce the Quran. It's telling us that the Quran that's coming afterwards covers all these 3 bases: aqidah, ibadah, and the behavior. Right? Then it ends by saying, if you do these things, then you are guided. You are على هدى من ربهم وأولئك هم المفلحون, and those are the ones who are going to be successful. And success in this life leads to happiness in the hereafter, inshallah. Okay, so this is, you will find this in many verses, in many surahs of the Quran. It starts with a general concept, then the verses that follow would explain these one by one.
Okay.
So in the Surah Al-Baqarah, we will find verses explaining the aqidah, verses explaining the ibadat, and the verses explaining the muamalat. Yes.
Behavior, yeah. No, I'm good.
Right?
I'm good, yeah.
Any questions?
Yes, I have one.
Sure.
Wallazina yu'minuna, what does that mean?
There are words in the Arabic which are, they call it pointers. It is something that you use to point to something. Right? You say this or that. What's the meaning of this or that? It is a pointer to something. Alladhina, it's a pointer to yu'minuna. Alladhina, you say, the boy who did this, al-walad alladhi. Okay, so alladhina, this word here is a plural, and the singular is the word alladhi. And which, and this is a pointer. It says this or that. And it starts with dhalika is a pointer as well. And they say that dhalika is a pointer to something far. This dhalika is that. When you translate it, means that.
It's pointing towards muttaqeen.
No, it's pointing towards the kitab. ذَلِكَ الْكِتاب. Right? It should have been هذا.
But isn't it defining the qualities of muttaqeen?
Later on. But it starts
With Zalikal
It
Yeah,
says
okay, Zalik.
ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ, right? So it is talking about the book. And it says that book. Where if I'm speaking, I would say this book, the book I have. And this is to magnify the value of the book or the honor of the book. It is ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ. You know, it is so it is using the pointer to a far thing to indicate a near thing, to magnify or to honor that thing. So the book is the ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ.
بما أنزل إليك. إليك is again a prompted pointer.
إِلَيْكَ, to you. إِلَيْكَ comes from إِلَى. إِلَى means to. I would say ذهبت, I went إلى المسجد,
Oh, okay.
to the mosque, right? Then when you add things to ila to indicate what you are talking about. So ilayka, if I add the kaf here, ilayka, this means to you. I can change this in different ways to indicate someone who's absent or a feminine or a masculine. It all comes from changing this. You will find in the when you say Assalamu alaikum, what do you say?
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam alaikum, right?
Assalamu.
So alaikum comes from
Oh.
a similar word, ala, means on. But when you talk to people, you say alaikum. This kaf mim here means you in the plural. If you want to talk to someone, a single person, you say alayka. You use the kaf.
Assalamu alaikum ya Rasulullah.
Yes. Like here, ilayka. So the kaf means the addressee when is a person, when is a masculine addressee, a single, right?
So when I see you as a single person, I say Assalamu alaikum,
Yes.
not Assalamu alaikum.
No,
Okay.
you don't need to.
I got
But
it.
we are used to Assalamu alaikum.
Right. Okay.
You know, and people say that this is, it's better to do this way because you come with your angels with you. So when it's Assalamu alaikum, I include everybody in
Everyone
it.
with you, okay.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So technically both are correct.
But both are correct.
But I think culturally we won't accept it. If we will say Assalamu alaikum to you, maybe we will think, okay, he is not,
Well, it depends.
yeah.
But it is acceptable.
It's acceptable,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
When you make dua to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, you say alayka or ilayka. You know, you talk to him personally. Right?
Now the word yuqinun.
Pardon me?
The word yuqinun.
Yuqinun.
Okay.
Yuqinun means they are certain.
From Yaqeen.
From yaqeen. Exactly. Yaqeen is certainty or certitude. So this is actually tells us that it is magnifying the honor of the muttaqin, because although they haven't seen the akhirah, بِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ, they are certain about the hereafter. But they believe in it and they are certain about it because it has been mentioned in the book and it has been mentioned in the Aqeedah. So because they have very strong and sound Aqeedah, they are certain about the hereafter.
Right.
Okay?
Ulaika ala hudan min rabbihim.
Now,
Then comes Ulaika again.
أولئك على هدى من ربهم وأولئك, see here the على comes, على means on. So أولئك على هدى من ربهم, they are on guidance from their Lord. And when it says على هدى, means that you are on the guidance, the road of guidance. It's not that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you the information. No, He placed you on the road
And Hadara.
and on Hidayah. So this makes it much more stronger than being or knowing about Hidayah. You are on the road of Hidayah. Right? وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ, and these are the successful ones.
So muflihun means successful.
Comes from falaha. We talked about this last time, right?
Oh, okay.
Falaha means
Falah. Yeah.
succeeded. It is much more rich. This is falaha. This is the root of yuflihu. Falaha means, well, we translate it as succeeded, but it is really much richer than this. It comes from planting the land. So when you plant the land, you sow it, and then you throw the seeds, and then you water it, and you take care of the weeds, and you make sure that the plant is going to succeed, and then finally, then you see the result. All of this is included in the word falah.
Falah.
So it is something that you prepare for it, and you take care of it, and you grow it until it becomes, you get the result.
Fine.
And the result, of course, of muflihun is in the hereafter. Well, it's not only in the hereafter, but in this world as well as in the hereafter. Okay? Now, last time, if you remember, we talked about some of the rules of pronunciation, right? One of them is the noon.
Yeah.
Noon is sakina. Here, and you pronounce it this right. When you say huda mir rabbihim, because this noon here is noon sakin, and it is followed by ra. So you combine them together, and there is no ghunna that we say. Say mir rabbihim. So this is one. The second rule about the noon is what we call ikhfa. The noon disappears. The sound of the noon disappears. And this comes here, yunfiqu. You don't really, I don't say yunfiqun, I say yunfiqu. Yunfiqun. So it's, the noon disappears. So that here, because of the following the noon, you don't pronounce the noon, and it is Also here, unzila,
Okay.
unzila,
Okay.
right? You don't hear the noon.
Yeah.
You hear the what we call the ghunna, because the sound comes from the top of your
No,
nose.
no.
हैंग हो गया मैं कर रहा हूँ
So, وَرَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ.
Yeah. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُم.
Razaqna. So now noon will be
No, here the noon, you see, we're talking about the noon which has sukoon on top of it.
yeah.
But here the noon has
Zabar.
zabar on
Yeah,
it.
so over here it will be emphasized on noon.
अभी चालू नहीं हुआ
Noon, you pronounce the noon like it is.
Yeah.
وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ.
ينفقون.
हो गया
हो गया
Any questions? Okay, so that's the first, yes.
Sorry. So whom you sorry. So the last word وَمِنْ قَبْلِكَ بِالْآخِرَاتِ whom
يُوقِنُونَ.
yuqinun.
يُوقِنُون.
Yuqinun.
अब चालू गया
Comes from yaqeen.
Okay.
What's yaqeen?
Yaqeen.
Yaqeen is,
Believe.
you are certain about something. You know that it is the truth
Okay.
and you are certain about it. Okay? Any question? Any question? Okay. So that's the first group of people that are dealt with here. The second
आवाज
group,
आनी शुरू नहीं आ रही
आ गया
अब आ गई वो अच्छा ठीक है
it talks about the disbelievers.
So after talking with believers, now he is talking to
Disbelievers. The complete opposite.
yeah.
Right?
Right.
So it says,
إن الذين كفروا سواء عليهم
سواء عليهم
أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة والله غشاوة ولا هم
عذاب عظيم. So this is talking about 2 verses only. There were 4 verses about muttaqeen. Here 2 verses about the disbelievers. Inna, when you use the word inna in the beginning, it is like indeed.